Hey, what's up? You're watching Sports Truth. I'm your host, Jordan Harris. Before we get into the video, we are working to meet a goal, which is 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And it's November 14th right now. So we've got, 45 days or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, about 45 days. So help us meet that goal. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We will greatly appreciate it. So let's get into the video today. Um, Today we're talking about Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and is he leaving Colorado for a Texas A&M job? And I know there's a lot of people who are rolling their eyes at that, and they're saying there's no possible way he's going to leave. He just got there. He's got plenty of things to do. Colorado looks like a good job. He's got his kids playing there. But before you jump into that boat of he definitely wouldn't leave, first let's talk about the fact that he's already done it before. He was coaching an HBCU, which was a historically black college. He's talked about how he is really putting an emphasis on teaching young black kids and how he cares about them so much, and he left that program already. So he has shown like he's not scared to just up and move and jump to a different opportunity. I wouldn't say a better opportunity, but a different opportunity. Um, so first, I want to talk about why Texas A&M would want him, and I also want to talk about why he might actually want to go to Texas A&M. So first, let's talk about why they would want him. So first, it's pretty obvious. He is the biggest name in college football. Not even a question. You can talk about any other coach, Nick Saban, any other player, Caleb Williams, whoever you want to talk about. Deion Sanders is the biggest name in college football, even after they've been getting smacked around these last few weeks, which is really unfortunate because I'm pulling for him. But even after they've lost all of these games recently, he is still the biggest name in college football. Um, Also, like, they would want him because he's shown that he has the capability to turn a program around pretty quickly. So if you think about a one-win team, like they won one game last year, Colorado, and he has them up to four. So like in one season, he went from 1 to 4, which I'm sure a lot of people are thinking like, oh man, it's not that hard to do. If you only won one, you can only go up from there. But man, it's hard to win college football games, and he's quadrupled the winning amount. He's quadrupled the amount of wins that they had from last year. It's not easy to do. He also showed that he can do something as crazy as turn over an entire roster in one off season. Like when you add that many new players, it's pretty unbelievable. And then it's pretty, I mean, to me, it looks pretty obvious that wherever he would go, a lot of those players would travel right there with him. I don't really know what all the hoops would be that they have to jump through to be able to transfer from Colorado to Texas A&M, but I'm pretty sure they would figure out which hoops to jump through and they would make it happen. Um, and then another reason why Texas A&M would want him is because if he could recruit at Colorado, which was the worst football school in the Pac-12, I'm pretty sure he could recruit in the ACC for one, and then also um, like an SEC school that's actually got a really good name behind it, one that people expect to win. I'm pretty sure he would do really well there, and then also the fact that Texas A&M have so much money, I'm sure they are huge players in the NIL deal situation. Like when you look at schools like uh, Colorado, for instance, or schools like where I graduated from, which is Wichita State, they may not be big players because there's not a lot of money behind those schools and a lot of big, huge brands that can give money to these players to advertise or endorse their companies. So those are some of the reasons why Texas A&M should want Deion Sanders. But now let's talk about why Coach Prime should want to go and coach Texas A&M. So first, money talks. Like can't get around that. Money talks, man. Money screams. Like, uh, and I know a lot of people are saying like he's got enough money. He played in the NFL. He's got this Colorado job. He made millions of dollars. He's making millions of dollars. He doesn't need any more money. But trust me, like I own businesses too, and if you offer me a million more dollars to put in my pockets, like I'm gonna take those. You know what I'm saying? So even if he's making, let's say, $6 million a year, If Texas A&M offers him 12 million a year, or let's just say 9.5 or 10 million, I'm pretty sure he would at least be interested in that position. Also, a stat that I noticed the other day, I'm not sure how it's going to show on the screen, but I was doing some quick research. I was trying to find out, like, what are the richest schools in America? And I went to this website here, Statista, I guess is how you pronounce it. It's a pretty prominent website. I had to do some research on it because I had never heard of it. But 20 richest colleges in the United States in 2022 by endowment fund market value. Okay. Not sure how it's showing up on the screen, but I'll zoom in a little bit on it. You can see Harvard at the top because that's where all the brainiacs, the rich brainiacs, go apparently. And then you got Texas. Like, Texas has their own channel, so obviously they've got a bunch of money there. You got Yale, Stanford, Princeton, all of the Ivy League schools. And then you go down to number 8, which is right here, Texas A&M. So Texas A&M is the 8th richest school in the United States. Like I said earlier, money talks. Money might even scream. So if you look at a school that fires their head coach and they've got this crazy buyout of over $70 million they got to pay out to this guy, if they've got the gumption, let's say gumption, if they got the gumption to fire somebody with that much money in their buyout, they must have some pretty deep pockets. Because I kept saying there's no way they're going to fire Jimbo Fisher. His buyout is too crazy. There's no way they're going to do it. And without even blinking, they fired him because they know they got a lot of money to put towards that buyout, and then they also have plenty of money left over to bring that next head coach in. And I'm guessing they probably want to make a big, huge splash because I can't imagine what kind of promises they made whenever they brought Jimbo in there. And they want to make sure that they don't look too crazy by bringing in this second guy after Jimbo and having it as a total flop. So they definitely want to make a big splash on this hire. Okay, the second reason, so the first reason, money talks. That's why he should want to go there. The second reason, his family is from Texas. Like, he played for the Cowboys. He ended up staying in Dallas or staying in Texas. I think it's Fort Worth is where but anyway, he ended up staying in Texas. So this gives an opportunity for him to go back, I guess you want to say, quote unquote, home, which is where they're familiar with. All of his kids are from Texas, so they like born in Texas. I also watched this YouTube episode. I don't know if you know, but Bucky. So Deion's son, he has a YouTube channel. I don't know what you want to call it. I guess he has a multimedia company that he owns, and he filmed an episode where he was showing Shador. I think both of those sons were going around and they were like looking at apartments, and they were shocked at how much houses cost in Colorado. Like, they were looking at these properties and they're like, man, it was I don't remember what type. It was like maybe 3 bedrooms and it was like almost $3,000 a month, and they couldn't believe it. And they mentioned how they could get a location for $3,000 a month. They were saying they could get 5 or 6 bedrooms in Colorado or in Texas. So they're like, man, I'm not used to this high expenditure here. But like, that is one thing too. I think people overlook that is when you come from a place where you can buy a 5-bedroom home for $250,000 and then you move to California and a 5-bedroom home is now $2.5 million, crazy stuff like that. That's a big difference in deciding where you want to be. Also, if you're from Texas, you're probably not used to cold weather. Colorado gets cold. I don't care what people say. Oh, it's not a wet cold. It's not that bad there. When I wake up, I live in Kansas. So when I wake up and it's -2 degrees, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go outside. But when it's 70, I'm jumping out of bed, running outside. It's a big, if you're used to being in Texas and you're used to 70-degree weather, or when it gets cold outside, it's just 50 degrees, it's kind of what you want to be. You want to get back to that. So this would give them the opportunity to move back to Texas where it's not going to be nearly as cold as it is in Colorado. All right, so first reason, money talks. Second reason, his family is from Texas. The third reason, it's actually a reason for him to want to go there and maybe a reason for him not to go there, which is it's in the SEC. It's the most competitive conference in football. So the reason for the reason why he should want to go there to the SEC is that if you get through the season with just one loss in the SEC, you're going to get a pretty decent look at the playoffs. I don't care if you're Kentucky or I don't care, one of the bottom feeders. If you get through the entire season with one loss and you win the SEC championship, you're probably going to go to the playoffs. So that's one of the reasons why he should want to go is he's going to get definite looks at the playoffs. One of the reasons why he should not is, again, like the SEC has a bunch of heavy hitters, a bunch of heavyweights. So instead of going through your schedule where you have like Arizona State where you should win these games and you've got these other Pac-12 games, or I guess they're moving to the Big 12. So think of a Big 12 school like, I don't know, Houston or something like that, where you're like, we should win this game. You don't get too many of those we should win these games in the SEC. So when your schedule is packed with 10 or 11 really tough games, that is one reason why some people are saying, no thanks, I'd rather not go to the SEC. I'd rather play in the Big 12 where we'll have a couple of teams that's going to be real tough, but if we run the table, they might give us an opportunity to get into the playoffs. Okay? So the next reason, so Money Talks is 1, his family is from Texas is 2, the SEC is 3. The fourth reason is that he would walk into a roster that is way better than Colorado's roster. He had to do all of that turnover, like having people leave the team, bringing brand new people in, having to start his recruiting from ground zero because nobody wanted to go and play on that team that had one win last year. So there weren't many people that were committed to Colorado when Deion signed on. So if we go to the 24/7, so let's look at the 2023 college football team talent composite. So this is something that I pulled up a couple days ago as well. I just was looking through this at the Miami-Florida State game. So if you go through here, you can see who has the most talent on their current roster. And if you look, this is showing that Texas A&M right here is 4th as far as the talent on their roster. And when they talk about talent, they're mainly talking about the athletes, like 5-star athletes, who has the most 4-star athletes. You combine all of that up, and they give you an average, and they give you a total points or whatever it may be. So when you look at this, Texas A&M, number 4 in the nation. So they've got talent like crazy. And Deion, you've probably heard him talking about how he wants dogs on his team. He needs a few more dogs to be able to be competitive, which if you watch the games, it's pretty obvious. He needs a few dogs, a few different places. His skill positions look pretty good, but when it comes to his like defensive and offensive line, it's just not good enough. But if you go to a place like Texas A&M, they are going to have those dogs you're talking about. They're going to have 4- and 5-star recruits all across their offensive line. They're going to have 4 and 5 recruits all across their defensive line too. So that's got to be at least somewhat enticing for him when he looks at the rosters, how different they are, how much work he would have to put in at Colorado to get those guys in. And then he walks into a perfect situation as far as talent goes at Texas A&M. Okay? So let's talk about the fifth and final reason why he should want to go coach at Texas A&M, and it's the facilities. Like, I know people are going to say Colorado's facilities, like they did a full tour and they recorded it and they posted on YouTube showing how ridiculously nice the facilities are at Colorado. And I'm not going to lie, they did look pretty nice. I could also take some people around to my alma mater, Wichita State, and I can show them our facilities. And they would be like, yeah, these are pretty nice. But there's levels to this. I'm telling you, levels to this. I dare you to Google or YouTube Alabama's facilities, their football facilities. It makes Wichita State's facilities look like a joke. It's crazy. So when you go and look at Wichita State and compare that to Colorado, you say, man, Colorado's facilities are really nice. But then when you compare Colorado's facilities to Texas A&M, you'd be shocked at the difference. Just go and Google Texas A&M's football facilities, basketball facilities. Go just YouTube it, Google it, whatever you want to do. You'll be shocked. So the facilities are a major upgrade. Talking about Colorado to Texas A&M. And I think that would be one reason why he would want to leave the beautiful state of Colorado to go to Texas A&M. So I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think he will go? Do you think he'll even consider it? Do you think they won't be interested in him? Like, what's your thoughts on it? Please leave those comments in the comment section below. I'm really active in that comment section, so I'm really interested in seeing what those comments are going to look like. But that's all that I have for you today. As always, I appreciate you watching the video. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. Once again, we're looking to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm certain that we'll meet that goal. As always, I do appreciate your time. God bless. Take care. Peace.